You know, the saddest and most common story in collecting is about the kid that goes off to college and comes home to discover his mom has tossed his comic book collection out with the trash. Well, thanks to moms, vintage comic books that have survived intact are in desperate demand, and that makes them hot. As a matter of fact, that makes them this week's hot collectible. Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, heroic images on cheap newsprint paper that once sold for as little as one thin dime.
Only 10 cents, and I wish I could go back in time and buy these. I mean, that's everybody's dream, every collector's dream, to be able to see a newsstand with all the original stuff there. But this book is worth about $15,000 to $20,000 because of the condition and that it's unrestored. If this were in mint shape, it'd be worth about $200,000.
Comics can be big business. Witness the more than 2,000 fans that turned out for this monthly Comic-Con at the Los Angeles Shrine Auditorium. But it requires keen business sense and detective work worthy of Batman himself to recognize and track down the true super values in this world of superheroes and supervillains.
This gentleman has these great 70s books half price. So if he has them marked at $6, I'm picking them up for $3. I'll bring it into the store and I'll price it at $8 and end up getting $6 or $7 for it and doubling my money within a day or two.
Jeff Frank, a comics dealer and admitted comics junkie, will be one of our guides through this money maze of modern mythology. Jeff's been hooked on the stuff since he was 8 years old.
This is the second comic book I ever bought, and I've had it ever since I was a little kid, and I get excited just holding this book. It makes me tingle.
The comic books that carry price tags as outrageous as their storylines all come from the golden age of comics. This era starts in the late 30s with the first appearances of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Here's Wonder Woman #9. Okay, during the war, they did recycling with a lot of the paper products and stuff. A lot of comics were recycled during the war period, so very few of these survived. This particular book's probably worth about $1,000.
Now, if this were Wonder Woman #1 instead of #9, the price would jump up to $18,000. That illustrates one of the basic rules of comic collecting.
What's going to make the comic books the most valuable is either the first appearance of a major superhero or bad guy, or the origin retold. Those are the key issues.
Batman's first appearance in Detective #27 currently goes for $175,000. Not worth quite as much, but equally as rare, are the 1950s horror comics with morbid titles like Tales from the Crypt, Shock, Suspense, and Uncanny Tales.
The thing with these is a lot of these were destroyed. They had these Senate subcommittee hearings where the people that produced this book, they had to go and explain and try and tell them that, hey, these aren't bad for kids.
Threatening artwork, disturbing storylines, kids loved them, parents hated them. These books can still be found in average condition for as little as $20. But mint copies of the rarest and most highly sought-after issues can command tens of thousands of dollars.
Little kids shouldn't be buying comic books with stuff like that on the cover. It's going to give them nightmares.
Also valuable are the early Marvel comics of the 1960s, known as the Silver Age of comics.
This is the prize of my collection. This is my Amazing Fantasy 15. It's worth maybe $15,000. Of course, if I had a near mint copy, I would have to auction it off at Sotheby's, and I could get about $100,000.
According to Jeff, the Marvel comic book company somewhat revolutionized the look and feel of comics as America was suddenly plunged into a decade of social unrest.
Marvel really changed the whole industry because before Marvel Comics, the superheroes were very flat and one-dimensional. They didn't explain anything when it came to their origins and their powers. Like Superman had powers. You didn't ask why the sun gave him his powers. He didn't have a personal life. He didn't have problems. And then Spider-Man and the X-Men came out in the early 60s, and these were three-dimensional characters. Peter Parker had acne. He couldn't get a date.
Today, comics are more popular than ever, which ironically means new issues will never become as scarce and therefore as valuable as their predecessors.
I would say for new books, really just start out and enjoy the books, because going down the path of thinking your book will go up in a week, like the stock market, that's not going to happen. It's really the old books that go up.
Whether collecting $2 books or $200,000 books, care for their condition is essential to maintaining their value. Most collectors buy one set of comics to read, and another that are never unbagged or touched by human hands. Previous owners may have marked up covers and pages. That will usually drop the value of the book down, but in some rare and unusual cases, it can actually send the price up, way up.
There was this Japanese family, and during the war, they were sent to an internment camp. And this young lady, she collected comic books there, and they would save comics for her and then get a bundle together, and then they would ship them to her at the internment camp where she was. And they would write her name on them, put the date, like this one says 5/4/1944, and then it has these numbers right here. I believe it's like what bunk or particular barracks that she was in.
The historic writing on the covers of the more than 2,000 comic books in this internment camp collection is valued at over $100,000. Comic books can be valuable, but for those who cherish them, their true value lies in their ability to transport the reader to exotic worlds.
I think the fascination with comic books is that when you get to be a little bit older, you want to recapture something that brings back that joy that you had when you were a kid. That's why people spend the money and are happy to own the books, because it makes them feel young again and have all those great memories.
So, ready to leap into action and start a collection of your own? Well, odds are you aren't as wealthy as millionaire Bruce Wayne, but you don't have to be. We've asked our experts for their top 3 picks for affordable comics whose values are most likely to soar up, up, and away. Our number 3 pick, an unlikely hero known as Coffin. The story of Dr. Ahmad, a dead scientist whose soul is trapped inside a suit of space-age material. Issue 1 of this popular comic was a short run, making it both desirable and hard to find. Its cover price is $2.95, but now regularly sells for $20, if you can find it. Our number 2 pick, Rising Stars, written by television writer and producer J. Michael Straczynski. The story of a new generation of children born with special powers thanks to a mysterious comet that passed by when they were in the womb. This is another premiere issue that caught distributors and collectors off guard when it first appeared. The publishers were canny enough to release the comic with several different covers. Most go for between $17 and $50. And finally, our number 1 hot collectible pick, Ultimate Spider-Man number 1. It's a retelling of the origin of Marvel Comics' most popular hero, especially hot with collectors because it is rumored to be the basis for the upcoming big-budget Spider-Man film starring Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe. Currently trading for more than 10 times its $3 cover price, experts predict the comic could eventually stick near the $100 mark in the weeks just before the movie premiere. For information on these collectibles and more, visit our website at ane.com/collector.